Hello everybody, my name is Kimberly and welcome back to my channel. Before I begin, I have had a lot of questions about the sink in my room and why it is there. Coming up 100 years ago, my house was made. It was a maternity hospital, meaning babies were born in this house. And people came into these rooms and stayed in these rooms and then had their kids. And so the sink doesn't work. We took out the plumbing, but it's a cool feature, so we kept it. And that sink is coming up 100 years old as well. Unless it's been replaced, then it's not. So now that we've covered why I have a sink in my room, let's get straight into the top 5 books of 2017 that I have read. Now before we begin, if you haven't seen my face before, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I post every Sunday and sometimes random videos throughout the week. Now I have read many books this year, and so I have read many good books and also many bad books. So I'm doing a video on my top 5 books that I read in 2017. The first book being Room by Emma Minogue. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. This book is written in 5-year-old Jack's perspective about how his mother was kidnapped a few years ago, well 5 years ago, and she has been stuck in this room being held captive by old Nick. And as I said, it's all in the boy's perspective, so I loved it. He talked about the furniture as if they were real people. I fell in love. I cried when they escaped. Happy tears, of course, because I was just so happy that they were out and free. It is a very descriptive novel because it is in Jack's point of view, and when you're little you ask questions about everything, and so he gives us a great description of everything. I found myself so attached to this book. I was reading it through all my classes in the buses in the morning, so I gave that quite a high rating. It is a very good book and I highly recommend you read it if you haven't already. The next book I read this year is All the Bright Places by Niven. All the Bright Places, it is about a girl named Violet who learns to live by a boy who wants to die, called Theodore. It is a very moving story that you won't want to put this book down at all. They meet at the edge of a bell tower at school where Theodore thinks about jumping and Violet is about to jump. And Theodore helps Violet get back on the other side of the bell tower so that she's safe, and plays off like she saved him so that her reputation stays the same. Theodore is like the outcast of the school and Violet is very popular. Her sister died in a car crash and she is just not 100% there. It was an astounding book which I read all in one sitting, but getting closer to the end you could kind of predict what was about to happen, so it was a little bit disappointing in that source, but definitely a great read. Pick it up, love it, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Another book I read this year which I highly loved, it was a reread, and that was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I have started to reread all the books. I actually didn't own any of the books until this year, so I've been buying the books, but I have read them several times before by getting them out of the library. I won't speak too much about this because I did a review on this. I'll leave the link down below. But it is about a boy named Harry who is the chosen one, and he goes to Hogwarts. He does not know he's a wizard until Hagrid comes and pretty much tells him. The Dursleys didn't tell him anything. But he goes to the school, meets Ron and Hermione, and they become great friends after an incident happened with Hermione and a troll. And they try and solve this mystery together and end up helping Gryffindor to win their house cup. Great book, and I love this cover. I'm in the middle of buying the series with this cover. I've got The Chamber of Secrets and the Philosopher's Stone in this cover, and then at secondhand stores I got The Goblet of Fire and The Deathly Hallows. The next book I read this year was a non-fiction biography by Malala. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, whether it's Malala or Malala. I've heard people call it Malala, but then most people call her Malala. It is the book I Am Malala by Malala. Malala is a girl who got shot on the way home from school because she was fighting for her right for education and the girl's right for education. Many people disagreed with this. And that's why she got shot, and everyone thought that she was going to die, but she didn't, and it was like a miracle. And since then she has not been afraid of anything, and she has just stood up and fought even harder for the right to be educated. It is a great book about her story and how she got to be where she is today. Malala is a great inspiration to those all over the world. She is a very powerful girl that should be recognised for all the hard work she has done for girls. And the last book I read in 2017 is a book that many people all over the world loved. I don't have the first book to it, but I've got the second book to it here. But I planned to get the first book because I loved it so much. I borrowed it from one of my friends and unfortunately had to return it, so I'm going to get it at some stage. And that is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. So I've got After You here. I haven't yet read After You because I've got so many things on my TBR pile, but I'm wanting to get right into this book. But Me Before You is about a girl named Louisa Clark, and she needs money to help support her family. And she had a job, but the business died down and closed up, so she had to leave. She had to leave and try and find another job, which the only job which she could actually do was taking care of a quadriplegic man named Will Trainer. Now, Will does not like Louisa to begin with. It is not until she pretty much tells him that the only reason she's here is because she needs the money. That is when he starts to change and starts liking Louisa a bit more. Louisa is there to babysit Will and make sure that he doesn't commit sideways. She's pretty much on suicide watch. She does not like the fact that he wants to die. He gave his parents 6 months and then he wanted to move on because he just didn't like how he was paralyzed from here down. He's just had enough of life and wants to move on. Now, Louisa doesn't like the fact that he just wants to give up and that she's on suicide watch, so she does everything she can to help him and to make him feel like he can't miss out on life. A book that'll leave you in tears because you just get so emotionally attached to Will, and then it all just goes pear-shaped and you can't do anything to stop it. You just have to read on and you know that everything's coming, but you can't do anything about it. So Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Read it. Please tell me what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts about it, whether you like it, hate it. Let's just have a really good discussion. So that is the end of my 2017 favourites. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!